Very good morning to you all, my dear students. Hearty congratulations that you have stepped into class 10. Either luckily or unluckily, I don't say that you started learning things at home, sitting at home. And that too, online classes and online videos, you will be given. You try to focus your concentration, start doing it. I am damn sure Jnanajyoti students do every wonders. Hope that you would not have been wasted all this lockdown resting period at home. So today onwards, focus your concentration subject by subject. You will be sent this type of videos. Better focus your concentration. Start writing notes by yourself and do your best. May God bless you. Wishing you all the best. Teaching English is an art. Native speakers of British, they have a different slang. Native speakers of Americans do have a different accent. At the same time, African people also do have a different accent. In case of India, we go for neutral accent. So each of the country people do have their own accent. Least bothered about your accent. Common neutral language will go for teaching of English. Today's topic for discussion is attitude is altitude. What is meant by attitude? You would have been come across people who behave, who think, what to do, what not to do, how not to do, what to say, what not to say. All these comes under attitude. If attitude is good, I'm damn sure altitude will also be very high. So that's what attitude based to altitude. So one's career will reach to a great altitude as long as they do have an attitude. So for that, we have the best example in the world. We can say that attitude is altitude with a Nick Vujicic. Go. Imagine having no arms to stretch in the morning, to help you scratch that itch, to allow you to wrap your arms around your loved ones. Imagine having no legs to kick pebbles down the street, to walk or run, to bicycle or skateboard, or get you from point A to point B. Then imagine both at once, which is what Nick Vujicic has faced his whole life. Have you heard something like this before? Imagine that you are no arms, no legs. When there is a scratch, we have to go for a hand. Similarly, when there is a pebbles are there, whenever we move, we need to have a legs. So basically, one requires hands and legs to do the things perfectly. But at the same time, if at all we want to move from one point A to point B, we need to have a legs. If at all we want to do something, we need to have a hands. It's a commonly understood thing. Imagine if hands are not there, legs are not there, what else we can do? Really speaking, things cannot be done, people used to believe. But that has been set aside and has been proved that without hands and legs, there was a man born that he wanted to prove himself, he proved. That is an example we are going to see. Nick Vujicic was born with no arms or legs, but doesn't let the details stop him. Nick was born with what? With no arms, no legs. But he did not stop. He did not go away from that. He decided and did something. That is the thing we are going to see now. The brave 26-year-old who is mainly torso. Here he is a torso. Why is a torso? No arms, no legs. You know very well, this is a forearm. This is the upper arm. So he doesn't have two arms. That's why he doesn't armless, legless. He is a torso. Plays a football, golf, swims and serves despite having no limbs. In spite of having no limbs, he plays swimming, he plays golf, and he goes on surfing and so on. And even he plays a football also. It's a very remarkable thing, surprising thing, astonishing thing, having a without having legs and hands. You can think about it. It's a wondering thing, amazing thing, and astonishing thing. Nick has a small foot on his left hip. We have a right hip and left hip. In the left hip, he has a small foot which helps him balance and enables him to kick. That foot helps him to balance and also kick. He uses his one foot to type, write with a pen, and pick things up between his toes. So, using his small foot, he takes his own balance and also kicks the things, and he used to type with his foot, and also he uses his pen and pick things with his toes. Such a practice he had done it. So all this has been done how? Perhaps he would have been born as a small child, From that we are going to see now. Nick has a small foot on his left hip which helps him balance and enables him to kick. He uses his one foot to type, write with a pen, and pick things up between his toes. Here, I call it my chicken drumstick, joke Nick. It's a direct speech. I call it my chicken drumstick. That small foot, he calls it as a chicken drumstick. Who was born in Melbourne. Nick was born in Melbourne, Australia. Melbourne is a small city in Australia, but now lives in Los Angeles. I would be lost without it. So at present he lives in Los Angeles, America, but he was born in Melbourne, Australia. Which thing he calls it as a drumstick? The small foot in the left hip, he calls it as a drumstick. Due to his faith as an evangelical Christian, Nick has chosen to remain a virgin until marriage, although he has had long-term girlfriends in the past. Nick Vujicic had a philosophical bent of mind. He is a evangelical Christian. He believed in Christian. He believed in Christian God, the Jesus. Nick has chosen to remain as a virgin until marriage, although he had had long-term girlfriends in the past. Can you imagine a person who is handsome may have a girlfriends. A person who has no hands, no limbs, also had a lot of girlfriends, but he was a virgin until his marriage. That is a very notable thing with him. He is very modest, but he gets marriage proposals from women all the time, said Nick's friend and publicist Steve Apple from Los Angeles. So constantly women approached him to get marry him. So that was the thing going on. It's a very peculiar thing. Without hands and without legs, how can people come and marry him? So it seems that he was such a talented, it was such an abled person, though he was a disabled person. He would love to get married to a smart family, but he was waiting for the right girl to come along. So he had given an options. People, sometimes they used to get without options, but he waited for an option for a suitable girl. This is a notable thing here. Water sports are not Nick's only thing. That means he was not only very good at water sports, but he was very good at golf also. Playing golf, you know very well, the ball has to be kicked with a club, a long stick. He used that long stick tucked under his chin. He kept that club under his chin and moved the ball. and he a huge fan of English Premier League. He was such a great mad of English Premier League. He was very interested to play that golf game also. From this we do come across he was not only very good at water sports, but also he was very good at playing of golf. His parents decided not to send him to a special school. His parents decided, both his mother and father, his mom and dad decided not to send this boy to where? To a special school. It was because a decision he said was very hard for him. A decision he said was very hard for him, but which may have been the best decision they could have made for him. Sending to a special school, how they would take care of him, how they would teach him, how they would take care of him might not have been known. So the decision was very best keeping that boy with them. When Nick was born, his father was so shocked that he left the hospital room for a vomit. Here you can think about how unpleasant, how he was displeased with Nick, so that he went there for vomiting. His distraught mother also, by seeing the baby, she became dejected, she became disappointed, she became upset. Could not bring herself to hold him until he was 4 months old. Until 4 months of old of Nizik, mother could not made up her mind. Mother could not adjust with the baby born. So he was so distraught. She was so disappointed, dejected. His disability came without any medical explanation. A rare occurrence called phycomelia. And Nick and his parents spent many years asking why this cruel trick would happen to them. My mother was a nurse and she did everything right during pregnancy, but she still blamed herself, he said. His disability came without any medical explanation. The medical people could not understand. The medical people could not give any interpretation. The medical people could not say anything why the boy was born like that. A rare occurrence called phycomelia. And Nick and his parents spent many years asking why this cruel trick would happen to them. Both his father and mother, they prayed God. They asked many people why that had happened to them only. Why the baby without limbs were born to them. But they could not get any answer from anybody else. My mother was a nurse. Nick's mother was a nurse. And she did everything right from pregnancy. Right from pregnancy, Nick Vizik's mother took care of everything. But she still blamed herself, she said. In spite of taking every care from her beginning pregnancy, then when baby was born, the baby was born without limbs. She could not adjust even when Nick was reached to 4 months baby. It was so hard for them to, right from the start, they did their best to make me independent. My dad put me in the water at 18 months and gave the courage to learn how to swim. I also got really into football and skateboarding. I totally love the English Premier League. It was so hard for them, but right from the start, they did their best to make me independent. After making up their mind, Nick Vizik was given every independence. They started taking care of him every way. His dad put Nick Vizik in the water when he was 18 months baby. So thus the boy started, suppose a newborn baby also put in the water, they never help. They only try to move their hands and legs. But this fellow do not have a hands and legs. But even then he moved and got a little courage to swim. I also got really into the football and the skateboarding, skating, and also football playing. He started playing without limbs. I totally love the English Premier League. He was very mad at the English Premier League sport. So that was the thing happened in Nick's Vijay's life. Nick's father was a computer programmer and accountant, and he taught his little son how to type with his toe at just 6 years old. Nick's father was a computer programmer and an accountant. Nick's father was working as a computer programmer and an accountant. He taught Nick Vizek how to type with his toe on a keyboard at 6 years old. His mom invented a special plastic device that meant he could hold a pen and pencil. Necessity is the mother of invention. For Nick, mother invented one special plastic device, special plastic equipment, which meant he could hold a pen and pencil. So such a way, Nick Vizek was taken by his mom and dad. Despite the risk of being bullied, his parents insisted Nick on attending mainstream school. Instead of putting in a special school, this boy was kept in a regular stream school. Regular, all other boys and girls were coming. He started going to that school. It was the best decision they could made for me. Instead of making to put in a special school, he was put in a regular stream school. Adds Nick, who later achieved a degree in financial planning and real estate. He could get a degree in financial planning and real estate. You think about that. Without having limbs and hands, how he has got mastered over in what? Golf, skating board, and also he also got mastered in playing football. Apart from that, academically also, he has got a degree in financial planning and also a real estate. It was very hard, but it gave me independence. He worked hard and finally he became an independent one. Nick, who was teased and bullied, had an electric wheelchair for mobility and a team of carriers to help him. Nick, who was teased, who was disturbed, who was pained and bullied. Why he was bullied and why he was teased, He was not a normal baby like other children with hands and legs. That's what many a time he was teased and he was bullied by the other children of the school. He had an electric wheelchair for mobility to move from one class to another class or from one place to another place. He had one electric mobile chair and a team of carriers to help him. Sometimes the wheelchair has to be moved by other assistants. Some assistants were also there for him to move his wheelchair from one place to another place. That means in the regular stream of schooling, he had faced a lot of problems. He had faced a lot of difficult things. Some people commented him, some people bullied him, some people teased him, but he never looked back. I was deeply depressed when I was 8 years old, he said. So in the regular course of time, he faced a lot of difficulties and he became frustrated. When he became frustrated, I went to my mom crying and told her I wanted to kill myself. Nick went to his mom at the age of 8 and told her that he was crying. and told her, "Mom, I wanted to kill myself." He told her that he wanted to kill by himself. He told her that he wanted to commit a suicide. So you can think about when a baby came to mother and asking her, telling her that he wanted to commit a suicide. Very pathetic situation, very sad situation, very sorrowful situation. At what age he went to his mother? At the age of 8. What did he say to his mother? He asked his mother, that he wanted to go for suicide. Which mother can feel very happy for that? So you think how much difficulty they have faced. I felt cold and bitter. I hated God for doing this to me and was terrified of what would happen when my parents were not there to look after me. When he did go to mother, if mother was not there, no doubt he would have been committed suicide. I felt cold and bitter. He felt his life was a very bitter one. He felt his life was a frozen one. I hated God. At that moment, he hated God. Why he was sent to this world without limbs. For doing this to me, and was terribly of what would happen if my parents were not there to look after me. Parents were there. When he did say, you can imagine how mother would have been pacified him. Mother would have been shown every concern to him to make him all right, to make him stand right, and so on. So I could brush my own teeth with a wall-mounted brush and wash my own hair. Wall-mounted brush was also designed. So he goes to that wall and he starts moving his tooth so that the automatic brushing used to go on. And then it's a wall-mount brush. With my own hair, he washing also a small device they have put in the restroom so that he could able to wash his hair with the pump action soap. With the pump action soap was put in there so that he could able to have a wash his hair. But there was so much that was impossible for me. There was something he could not attempt. But even then, the normal things which other children used to do, those things were he was made to do all those things. That's what necessity is the mother of invention can be seen with Nick Vujicic. His parents cooperated him, his parents supported him, his parents made him to have instilled every courage to do the things better. At age 10, Nick tried to drown himself in the bath, but luckily attempt was unsuccessful. So when he was taking bath, he was about to be drowned at the age of 10. Nick was about to be drowned. Then he could able to get over from that. I felt there was no purpose. When you lack purpose and strength, it is hard to hold on, he said, but with the help of his religion, friends and family, Nick managed to pull through to become an international symbol of triumph over adversity. In spite of having so many distraught, in spite of having so many distresses, he could able to succeed his life only with his religion, friends and family. Nick managed to pull through to become an international symbol of triumph over the adversity. From an adversity to triumph, how he has grown. His friends, family, religion, and nothing but a God helped him, he says in this way. When I was 13, I read a newspaper article about a disabled man who had managed to achieve great things and help others, said Nicky. When he was at the age of 13, he read a newspaper. In the newspaper article, he came to know that there is a disabled person, physically challenged person, then that has given a courage for him to move ahead. I realize why God had made us like this, to give hope to others. God has given this shape. God has given this, made me to born without limbs. There is a reason for it. There is a cause for it. What is the cause? That I myself should become a water. He thought that he himself would be the inspiration to other people. He himself should be the hope for other people. Such a way he started to think from that day onwards. He gave to others. It was so inspirational to me that I decided to use my life to encourage other people and give them the courage that the article had given me. When he read that article, he came to know that God has wantonly, willingly made to be born like that. With that, he would like to make other people influence. Generally, people used to say, I have so many problems, I can't go, this and that. But in spite of his problems, he doesn't want to feel of those problems. He always wanted to make other people be hopeful. He wanted to encourage the people. He wanted to inspire the people. That decision he had taken started moving ahead. I decided to be thankful for what I have, what I do have, not get angry about what I don't. Since then, he decided not to hate God. Since then, he was very thankful that he was being born like that. Because he can influence the people. He can become a role model for the other people by working hard, by improving his skills and so on. Such a way he did not get angry. Since then, he always felt thankful to the God making him to send to this world like that. I looked at myself in the mirror and said, you know what, the world is right, that I have no arms or legs, but they will never take away the beauty of my eyes. I wanted to concentrate on something good that I had. You would have been come across, if a vehicle is not there, God has blessed me 2 legs, I can walk and reach my destination. Similar such way, constantly he started looking at the mirror. By looking at the mirror, he forgot that he did not have a hands and legs, but he started appreciating his beautiful eyes. So he started to have a contentment of what he is blessed. He doesn't want to hate what he wasn't blessed. So that's what here he started to appreciate his eyes. That eyes cannot be taken, already blessed. Legs and arms were not there, least bothered about it. So he concentrated what is there with him rather than what are not there with him. The challenges in our life are there to strengthen our convictions. They are not there to run us over. The challenges in our life are there to strengthen our convictions. What all we are blessed, we should feel strength of it, and we should not think of weaknesses. They are not there to run us over. We should not run away from here, said Nick. In 1990, Nick won the Australian Young Citizen of the Year award for his bravery and perseverance. You see that normal things only getting better is difficult. Nick, in the year 1990, Nick won Australian Young Citizens Award for what? For bravery and also perseverance. You can think about how he would have been sustained in spite of having so many difficulties, problems, bullying, or commenting, and so on. So he showed his bravery and perseverance. Australian Young Citizen Award was given to him in the year 1990. And once I was in a car and a girl at traffic lights was giving me the eye. She could only see my head, so I decided to do a 360 in the car seat to freak her out. Her face was like a, oh, what's going on? She sped off really quickly. And once I was in a car, Nick was in a car, a girl seriously looked at him at the traffic lights. She could only see his head. So he decided to give a small jerk to her. So that what happened? When she looked at him, he decided to freak her out by jumping from the seat 360 degrees. Her face was like, oh, she felt surprised, wondered what was going on there. All of a sudden, she left the place quickly. Nick began traveling the world, and in 2008 he went to Hawaii and met surfing master Bethany Hamilton, who had her arm bitten off by a shark when she was 12. Nick began traveling the world. Even moving in the local area may not be facilitated, may not be attained when there are no limbs. But he started traveling the world. And in 2008, he went to Hawaii. There, he met a surfing master, Bethany Hamilton. She had her arm was bitten off by a shark when she was 12 years. What a pathetic story, you see that. Though things were not there, they could able to do their best. That is the thing we do come across here. Bethany Hamilton lost her hand by a shark bitten. She was amazed, said Nick. She taught me how to surf and I was terrified at the first. Bethany Hamilton, who had lost her hand, which was bitten by a shark, taught him how to surf on the water. Once I got up there too, felt absolutely fantastic and I caught some waves pretty well. Nick quickly learned how to do the 365-degree spins on his board. Very quickly he learned. When he was taught surfing by Bethany Hamilton, he learned it very quickly. 306 degrees he could able to spin on the board. A feat that got him on the cover of a Surfer magazine within 48 hours. So when he could able to move his body in a 365 degrees, then his picture as a surfer came on a magazine within 48 hours. No one has ever done that in the history of surfing. No one has ever done such type of feat in surfing. He did it so that his picture has been published in a magazine. But I have a very low center of gravity, so I have got a pretty good balance. He could able to have a pretty good balance with his, he has one foot, in the left hip. With that he could able to do all kinds of miracles and wonders by giving a 360 degrees of momentum. He has visited different countries all over the world. Nick visited many a country in the world. The football fan is now a motivational speaker. He was a football player and also became a motivational speaker and has traveled to over 24 countries speaking to groups of up to 10,000 people. For every meeting, there should be a 10,000 people used to be gathered. For that, he started giving inspiring speeches and making the young people to as a model for them. He moved to Los Angeles 2 years ago and plans to continue to travel the world. He moved to Los Angeles 2 years ago from Australia and plans to continue to travel the world. This year, he will visit South America and the Middle East. So, even he visited Middle East of Middle East of Asian continent also. If I fail, I try again and again and again. If you fail, you are going to try again. If you fail, are you going to try again? That's the question he asks. The human spirit can handle much worse than we realize. So he failed. Again he attained perfection. If you fail, will you do it again and again and again? That's the question. The human spirit can handle much worse than we realize. It matters how you are going to finish. How you are going to finish, how you are going to determine, how you are going to reach the destination is very, very important. Are you going to finish strong? Said Nick. Are you going to finish strong? Are you going to achieve the thing which you aim? That is the thing he asks. I tell people to keep on getting up when they fall, and to always love themselves, he said. I tell people, Nick Vujicic says, people getting up and continuing the work, that should never be stopped. How a drop by drop becomes an ocean, similar such way, work should never be stopped. And also he says, love themselves. We should love our work. We should continue our work. That persistence is very much required, everybody. If I can encourage you, just one person, then my job in this life is done. Nick Vujicic opines, if he is able to influence a one person, then his life has a meaning. Such a way he inspires the people, he motivates the people, he makes the people to take him as a model of how he concentrated what all has been blessed to him, and never thought of what all have not been blessed to him. Such a way he started motivating the people, particularly for class 10 students, should take this him as a model. And nothing is impossible in the world, everything is possible in the world. So these type of great people's personalities are to be read a number of times and try to imbibe their good qualities to our career. Attitude is altitude. Lesson, we would like to have a very brief and summing up information I'll put to you now. Nick Vujicic was born on 4th December 1982 in Melbourne, Australia. He was born with no arms and no legs. You know it very well. At the same time, Nick's mother was a medical nurse. And moreover, his father was a computer programmer and accountant. When Nick was born with no arms and no legs, his mother could not digest for 4 months. It took 4 months to take him on her lap. Father, by seeing Nick without arms and legs, he left the hospital and vomited. That was the very pathetic situation of Nick's birth. In due course, mother and father encouraged him like anything, and also special devices were prepared and gave it to him, and to do his works by himself. At the age of 18 months, Nick was put in water by his father. Such a way he encouraged him to swim in the water. Of course, he did not have no arms and no legs, and actually he has only one foot, a small foot. Jokingly, Nick Vujicic comments that as if it is a drumstick, chicken drumstick. Moreover, he instead of admitting in a special school for disabled, he was sent to a regular stream school. In the regular stream school, he was bullied and teased like anything. For all of these things also, day by day, he could able to bear all those things. Going to school, he was given a special electric wheelchair with some assistants to carry them. At the same time, mother also prepared a special device for using a pen and pencil from his mouth. Father also made him to learn how to type on the keyboard with his toe. Similarly, at the age of 8, he decided to commit suicide. At the age of 10, he attempted suicide. Mother convinced him and told him that was not right. Then he read an article in the newspaper about a disabled person. Then he understood that a disabled person who was helping others without thinking of his disability. Since then, he decided that his life was meant to, for what? Meant to help other people, meant to create hope for the other people. Then, at the age of 13, his decision made him a remarkable man in the society. In the year 1990, he was given an Australian Young Citizen Year Award for his bravery and persistence. He was given an award of bravery and persistence.
Yeah, go.
In 1990, he won the Australian Young Citizen Year of Award for his bravery and perseverance. Here, perseverance means a continuous effort. A boy of disabled started doing a very, very brave things there, so that he won that award. From childhood, he was fond of golf and became a huge fan of the English Premier League. He became a fan and also he started playing golf. Can you think that how he would have been played a golf? Playing of a golf, he has to use the club. That club he started to take it on his under his chin and started playing the golf. And there also he became a very worthy player and so on. He began traveling all over the world. In the year 2008, he met Bethany Hamilton. Bethany Hamilton is a very pathetic story, has been turned to a very successful story. Bethany Hamilton was bitten by a shark, so that she lost her hand. Such a woman did not keep quiet and worked as a trainer, coach for the surfing people. Nick also got a coaching from her, and then he also started surfing. Within 48 hours of his joining, he made a feat. 360 degrees of feat was recorded and published in a sports magazine. And in addition to that, he became a very big motivational speaker. He started making the people inspiring with his biography, and also he started speaking on various aspects and so on. In 2008, he met Kane Miyahara, a beautiful young lady. They became friends. Very soon they got married. Both they decided to write a book to make the people inspired, that is Love Without the Limits, which was published in the year 2014. Now they are a happy family of 4 children living in Los Angeles, USA. Dear students, just before we have concluded brief summary of Nick Uchich. You please read the lesson 4 or 5 times and also go through the summary. Then you write sentences of your own. When you write sentences of your own, then you will get a very clear idea with the concept, and also you can learn a lot of vocabulary. Besides that, you can learn how to construct the sentences by yourself. Suppose if you do not have a textbook, a link is provided here. If you go through that link, if you download that link, you will get a textbook also. So you can read textbook in that way also, if physical textbook is not available. 100% physical textbook cannot be replaced by e-books. Even then, a link is provided. It's better you please go through all the things which have been dealt to you. Here, very brief sketch. You go for childhood of Nick Uchich and how he attended the school, how he was bullied, how he was teased. Also, you please go through it. What professions their parents were, and how their parents supported them, and at the same time, how he built his career from a stress and strain. In one particular point, he was about to commit a suicide. How he came out from that, which article made him to turn towards the progress of future, and not only taking a physical progress of himself, and he wanted to stay, he decided to stay hope for other people also. So you think that with his disability, how in what are the fields he attempted? For example, you take golf, for example, you take swimming, for example, you take surfing, for example, you take motivational speaker, how he had achieved all those things. It's a fantastic thing. Take to your spirit and start doing it, then you can also. Thank you.